Guys, back at my workstation, and a while back I thought about gliding and maybe even about entering a gliding competition here in Ottawa, Canada. And well, I decided I would take a crack at a competition glider. And this is my first design. I originally designed two very small gliders, wings that I was going to turn into gliders, and I just didn't. And then I thought, well, I'll take a look at building one for serious for a competition. Before I was just kind of playing with them for wing shape, and I just decided that this would be a good combination. I had both of these made already, and the tail, the elevator was made already. And I thought, well, it's big and it's got a bit of a lift profile to it that you can see there. The whole thing makes crazy amounts of lift. In fact, that's the reason I'm shooting this video. I hadn't intended on shooting a video on it. And then I gave it a single gram of nose weight. So we're going to take a look at that and I will prove that out. So here is the nose weight that I threw it on. And it's 1 gram. And then let's take the aircraft and we're going to put that in place. And we're looking at 3. When it actually settles, when I actually put it on the whole thing, it was 3.2, but it's hard to do on this workstation because I always have one wing hitting something or landing on something, or it has to wholly rest on the pad, and that's really difficult to do. But in the end, the measurement I actually got out of it was 3.2. So with this guy, the whole package together, was just over 4 grams, guys. So that's pretty sweet for this to be just barely 4 grams. Now, I've glide tested a bunch of these so far, and while all of them glided quite well, by technical definition, every one of those could be a glider, because they are set up to glide. I build them as a glider first, as I pointed out in a couple of different videos. So you can see the nose weight on this one because it was glide tested. This thing glides amazing. You can see another one here with the nose weight because it's been glide tested. Generally, I don't always leave the nose weights on, but if I plan on flying it as a glider, I do. This glides very well. But the best gliding wings I have made so far for climb and gentle are this guy and its bottom wing. It climbs like crazy. You throw it gently and it starts to climb until it loses momentum and gently comes down. Same with the bottom wing. It flew the same way. But they didn't come close to hitting the ceiling. I mean, we got 10-foot ceilings in here. And so that's actually, I think those are 8-foot ceilings. My bad. But they're a couple feet taller than me and I'm just under 6, so they're 8 foot. And that being said, I gave this one the same kind of light but stiff toss, but still fairly light. I mean, it's not the toughest thing in the world. You don't whip it. I just barely tossed it across my room, and it climbed up high enough to hit the ceiling. Which means if I give this one a really good throw, I was right. This is a sick gliding design. I had a feeling it would work really well because we've got the bottom flat wing, and then we've got this upper wing, and it really is grabbing the air on the way up and helping the whole thing to come up really nicely. And then on the way down, the far-reaching tips help to stabilize the whole thing and keep it from tip stalling and causing a problem, and it really glides really nicely. I think this one might be worth an attempt at the local gliding event. I'm definitely going to see how it works and fine-tune it. And I also found that with the 1 gram of nose weight, it CG'd right at the back of the wing, which is not ideal for a fighter plane, but it is for a glider. If you want it to climb a little bit, the best thing I can do is make it CG right at the back of the wing. That way it climbs up, and then on the way down it'll hold about the same angle. And that would be beautiful because it actually climbed at a very steep angle, and I know that it will glide back at a shallower angle than that. That is a really good thing. On a really gentle toss, it glided really nicely, and that's a good thing. So this has a good ability to sustain itself and hold itself in the air. And when you see the wings and you look at the angles they're on, you can sort of see why. I mean, this is really made to grip the air, hold on to it, and then ride it down. And you'll see when I attempt a competition with it, that it is a good glider. I don't know how else I'll show it to you because it's got such a big glide angle. It's really not meant for gliding outdoors. It's an indoor aircraft. But I've discovered I do not have enough room to even come close to glide testing this. The other ones only climbed about a foot and then came down. This one climbed straight to the ceiling, partly because it's so light. It didn't have a desire to backflip itself. It just climbed and came straight, going like on a perfect 45 until it hit the ceiling. And it hit very quickly, which means it achieved good speed, which is one of the things I actually want in a competition glider. All of the things I was thinking about doing with the glider, this one does. It does it very, very well. So this is my first glider that is actually designed to be a glider. I'm not saying it's necessarily designed to win a competition. I'm saying this was my first experiment with a glider as a dedicated glider, and it's definitely a successful glider. I'm not sure if it'll break any records, but at the same time, I've never ever seen a glide performance like that with such a light throw. And if it can climb like that and then stay fairly reasonable as it comes down, which it should, it's going to have a really good shot at breaking a record if I can get a good throw on it. The Ontario record isn't that long, and if I could even just break some local records, that would be amazing for me. And so I'm going to take a crack at it, especially now that I have this design. I mean, I figured I'd try a glider and see what would happen. And it come out really, really well. It flies beautifully. It really does glide and grip the air very well. And I think that this is going to be a wonderful competition glider, guys. So keep an eye out for it from RXD. This is the RXD Glide Path. And I am not done with it yet. I just built it and put it through its first toss, and it's deeply impressive. In fact, I gave it a very light toss, and it climbed a little, and I gave it a slightly harder toss, and it went straight to the ceiling. Not straight up. That would be bad. It actually did the nice glide angle, where it climbed very well and doesn't lose a lot of speed as it climbs. It's actually quite sleek and quite aggressive in its profiles as it comes to climbing. But when it comes to dropping, it's got so much wing area out front catching it that it really does stop the nose from coming down and helps it glide at a really nice angle. This could be a really excellent design for a gliding competition. It might even be a winning design, but I won't know until I fine tune it and test it. I did not put VGs on it because they are designed to slow things down. I actually don't want to do that with this. I want it to cover ground fairly quickly and make altitude fairly quickly. Anyway, that being said, this is the RXD Glide Path version 1, we're going to call it, because I'm pretty sure there will be others. But for now, I love it. I mean, it flies amazing and at a very low weight. It's 10.5 inches wingspan. And it's pretty wild. I'm loving this thing. Anyway, I will let you know after I've tested it how it really performed. But for now, all I can say is this is by far the best glider I've ever made. It achieved its goals to a higher degree than I expected, with much less effort than I expected. It took a 2-minute setup and it was done. I took my time and it was easy. All I did was make sure that the substantial elevator was dead level, and it's never been adjusted. That was it. I made sure it was level. I flew it. It flew amazing. It flew so well I double checked the elevator. I thought I might have moved it up because it climbed so well. So that's a really great sign. And if it does it that quickly, that's a really great sign too, because it has very low resistance to moving through the air while it climbs, which theoretically makes it a competition one for sure. Keith out.